chapters out. You know the drill. If you're okay with spoilers or if you're caught up to the manga, then you're welcome to be here. If you don't want spoilers, you should not be here. Yeah, same old, same old. Chapter 1089, titled Under Siege. And I already know from the last chapter that this is back in Egghead. Let's see what happens, but I got a general idea. Cover request by Parko. A cow serves Nami a late-night mug of warm milk while she works on her sea charts. Thanks, but I saw them earlier. Sanji wrote a note. The stars outside shine almost as beautifully as you, Nami-san. Would you like to come watch them with me? Thanks, but I saw them earlier. East Blue. News races around the world. Fuchsia Village. Did you hear about Garp-san? Missing in action on Pirate Island? What's that mean? It doesn't say dead, right? Oh, what's his name? Mayor, Whoopslap. Whoopslap. Try to remember that. Because it's like the Pokemon Whooper. And it sounds funny. There's no need to worry about him. He's a living legend. Yeah, the mayor's right. You think this is funny? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was you. The baby was laughing and then he made him cry. I guess we're all a little on edge over Garp-san. The baby's even starting to recognize Luffy's face from all the photos. You really love seeing Big Bro Luffy, don't you? Garp, Luffy, what are you doing? East Blue. An earthquake. In Logtown. South Blue. It's a tsunami. Get to higher ground. Oh, is this what I heard it was? West Blue. That's the Kano Kingdom. North Blue. It's a big one. Okay, so an earthquake is felt in all four seas. No earthquake in recorded history matched the one felt on that day. It caused untold destruction across the entire world. Grand Line. Laboon. Water 7. Iceberg. Galila. No one could determine the epicenter, so the significance of this geological event went unnoticed. So they said Momo in Wano feels it, and Hina at a Navy base, it might be Marineford or adjacent, might feel it. Okay, so it's literally global. Impel Down, of course, would feel it. What the hell is happening? More islands. Even Marie-Joie feels it. Unbeknownst to the people, get to the hilltop. A kingdom known as Leloucha was erased from the map only 6 days prior. 6 days prior? What? If that's the connection, why did it take so long? Oh, I think I get it. Geologically speaking, it might take some time for the epicenter to spread through the planet and bounce off of the core. But global earthquakes are no joke. So Leloucha was erased from the map only 6 days prior. We've reached the spot where the kingdom was. There's no trace of it left, just a massive hole. It's like a circular waterfall in the middle of the sea. We can't sail any closer, but it doesn't look like the hole will collapse in on itself. The ensuing earthquakes caused the global sea level to rise by approximately 1 meter. Okay, so everyone on Twitter is talking about it. It's not a secret. It's common knowledge that this has some relation to Enies Lobby. Enies Lobby had a hole just like this, except for the islands in the middle of it. But the similarities are uncanny. And I used to theorize, and there's still a chance. I used to theorize that Enies Lobby's hole was a result of a shot from Pluton, or at the very least another ancient weapon. Now that's semi-confirmed because we know that Vegapunk recreated, at least that's what the context is suggesting, recreated one of the ancient weapons. I don't think he created a brand new weapon from scratch. I think he recreated an ancient one. Which one is unclear. and people are talking about it's Uranus. Now, maybe that's going to be revealed in the next part of the chapter that I haven't finished or read yet, and I don't know that yet, so I'm glad I avoided that spoiler. Now, there's a chance that this is a recreation of Uranus, or... No, yeah, it can't be the original Uranus because they already confirmed that this was a Vegapunk creation. Technically, I'm calling it a recreation because that is a very important distinction. So if that's the case, then my theory that it was Pluton will be false, and that technically that's already a very poor theory because the original Pluton is under Wano. There could have always been a second one around, but that is very, very, very unlikely because otherwise all of Water 7 wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have made it a big deal about Nico, Robin, Tom, Frankie, Iceberg. They wouldn't have made a big deal about the blueprints being the only potential way to build another one. So we know there's one under Wano, and we know that the blueprints are burned, and the only person who has a chance of creating a second one would be Frankie. But because we know where the Wano one is, or at least Robin does, we don't need a second one. The only reason we would need the original one is to fight whatever this is. And this is probably not based on those blueprints. So it's not another Pluton. So that theory goes out the window. But the fact that Enies Lobby was created by an ancient weapon seems like it's virtually confirmed. I am very certain that it was an ancient weapon. It doesn't matter that it's not Pluton, but I think we are good to go that Enies Lobby was made by the original Uranus, and this hole was made by a Vegapunk recreated Uranus, which is controlled by Emu. Now, here's another theory that I recently heard on the Grand Line review channel, which was based on a Japanese YouTuber called Drop the Pizza, about turning the world 90 degrees, and that's the One Piece, etc., etc. Go watch his video if you want to know all the details. But the thing that he didn't mention, and which I didn't comment because I forgot, I didn't realize until the next day, is that the planet Uranus, I think, if my astronomy knowledge is not rusty, because I used to be an astronomy buff back in the day, Uranus' axis is technically 90 degrees. It's not rotating like this, it's like this. So out of all the planets, Uranus is unique in that its axis is tilted onto its side, and and astronomers for years have known, like, oh wow, that's very strange. It's almost as if something in the past hit Uranus, collided with it, like a planetary body, and knocked it off of its axis. And that's why instead of rotating like this, it rotates like a bowling ball, like this, instead of like a top. And therefore its north and south poles are like this instead of like this. So that's a planet Uranus. So maybe Oda based, if that theory by Jabba the Pizza is correct, maybe Oda based his plan of, rotating the One Piece world 90 degrees back to what it originally was before the pole shift. Maybe he based it on the planet Uranus, and now that we have known for years that the three ancient weapons are called Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus, and Uranus is the one that at this point in time I know the least about. Let's finish this chapter before we get more into that. I think there is a correlation between Drop the Pizza's planetary tilt theory and the fact that the planet Uranus is already 90 degrees tilted. It could be a coincidence, but that's very unlikely. In fact, I'm almost sure that it's too good to be a coincidence. And the sea levels rose from the earthquakes by 1 meter, and the earthquakes, I think, are implied, not explicitly stated, but implied that the earthquakes were caused by the aftermath of Lelouch's destruction. Now let's stop keeping you waiting. Let's keep reading. Many of the world's shores were lost beneath the waves. What is happening? The tide has never gotten this high before. It will recede eventually, won't it? How are we meant to run on the beach now? Okay, so tides are rising. And some islands were submerged entirely. Everything's flooded. We can't stay here. There's a shark in my house. Reports of flooded islands are still coming in. It shouldn't be high tide yet. I'm sure to get a big catch on a day like this. You numbskull, going fishing now would be suicide. Okay. So, global earthquake. Global sea level rising. Interesting. I'm still thinking about that Uranus theory because it can't be a coincidence. New world, Egghead, the island of the future. Finally, we waited months for this. Literally months. Sea levels have risen worldwide? Yes, sir, we're at a loss. A massive force has surrounded the island, possessing more than enough firepower to put a buster call to shame. Yeah, essentially, in numbers, this is 10 times a buster call. 10 buster calls. Dang. The fleet is comprised of over 100 ships of various size and class. There are 20 great warships among them. It's a mecha monster! Okay, so the Vegapunk mecha monsters are attacking them. And a total of 30,000 marines. They shoot the monster. Hey, Unc, didn't I just tell you not to lay a hand on the weaponized sea beasts? They started it. The operation is being spearheaded. They have a good point. The monsters would have attacked first. By 9 Navy HQ Vice Admirals. Okay, so a buster call automatically is 10 ships led by 5 Vice Admirals. This is over 100 ships led by 9 Navy Vice Admirals. And I don't even know them all. I recognize Dahl, and I recognize, I want to say Doberman, if my memory is correct. But I don't recognize the big Blackbeard. I don't recognize the big butt chin. I don't recognize what looks like he has weird blades on his head and a long beard. I don't recognize the one with 1, 2, 3, 4, the one with at least 4 chins. Although I did see him in a previous chapter. I don't recognize the one with the weird glasses. I don't recognize, I think that's a lady with the wrinkles. And I don't recognize the one with the ogre teeth. Though I have seen this panel on Twitter, I did not know much more than that. Well, I mean, forget I said that. Whatever. And Admiral Kizaru, of course. So the 10th person is an admiral, not a vice admiral. Navy Admiral Kizaru, Borsellino. You aren't making this easy for me, Sentomaru-kun. Can't you just come on out and surrender? Fat chance we'll be ready if you try something like that again, Unc. Wow, so Sentomaru is really sticking to his guns. And they're serving a lot of what looks like hot ramen. How long has this siege been going on? I see Panda Man in the background also enjoying some noodles. Oh my, I'm absolutely terrified. Sarcastic ass. Grandpa Punk based the Pacifista's lasers off of the research he did on your powers. Oh wow, flashback. They're all young. Young Sentomaru, young Vegapunk, young Kizaru. I can't believe you're here to kill him. Sentomaru-kun, no one can protect him from his own choice to research the Void Sentry. I'm just a cog in the machine. That sentence is his entire character, if I've ever heard one. Anyway, this fight isn't exactly in our best interest. Everything we break is a net loss for us. That's true. At this point, I think it's fair to assume that Rob Lucci and the others failed to complete their assassination mission. Thanks to the Straw Hats. Ooh. 5 Elder Planets, Warrior, God of Defense Science, J. Garcia Saturn. Inside a certain warship. Make sure no one knows I am here. Yes, sir. Doberman's with him. The Straw Hat Pirates storm Egghead to take Vegapunk hostage. This is a good article. It's one of Morgan's. And what is the reality of the situation? Sir, we have yet to receive any word from Cypherpole Zero on whether their mission was a success. However, we can draw our own conclusions based on Sentomaru's resistance. It can be safely assumed that Dr. Vegapunk and his 6 satellites are up in the Labostratum, along with the 4 Seraphim assigned to protect them. Okay, Punk Records, Labostratum, Vegapunk, Stella, 6 satellites, 4 Seraphim. Good recap. And it seems likely that they have joined forces with Emperor Straw Hat. His crew has 10 members. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Correct. Our advanced guard included 3 members of CP0, Rob Lucci, Kaku, and Stussy. Okay. There were also a number of other Cypherpole agents but it seems like they've been captured in the Fibrostratum by Centomaru and his battalion of Mark III Pacifista. Okay. As the frontier dome is currently at 100%, we can be certain that nobody can get in or out of the Labostratum. Okay, Saturn's still eating. Unfortunately, we have no way of knowing what has transpired on the interior of the dome in the last day or so. Okay, so there might be a little bit of a time skip. I'm still confused on that, although I do know that the last chapter said the next day's newspaper talked about Garp and about Egghead. And where have the researchers and workers of Egghead gone? They evacuated yesterday, but we have tracked and confirmed the current position of their ships. Okay, so it's been a day. And what would we do if they got away? They might know something. Sink them immediately. Yes, sir. Saint Saturn, your worship, there is one more thing. The glutton, Jewelry Bonnie, who was reported to be on the island too. Ah, Kuma's daughter. Well, we no longer have any use for her, but given that she is just a little girl, you can leave her be. Given that she's just a little girl, you can leave her be? Understood? First of all, I'm confused of why they consider her a little girl when, like, I know how her powers work, and I know that Oda did not explicitly confirm her age. He only insinuated that, hey, her base form is probably what her real age is, and by base form I mean what her default form, which is basically 22, 23. First of all, I'm confused why Saturn calls her just a little girl. Like, is he so old that a 20-something is considered a child? Or is he implying that he knows her real age? What does he know? And second of all, why isn't he willing to kill a little girl? Like, I thought that the five elders and Emu were not above killing innocent people. In their eyes, they're not innocent, but you know what I mean. Like, why not kill her? Just because she's a little girl? That surprised me for a second. I was like, okay, so they have standards? Moral standards? I'm very, very confused, but intrigued. Understood. Kizaru-san, we've picked up a transmission from Egghead. It appears to be a long-range call. Buzz, buzz. Ring, ring, ring. Or, how do they do it in the anime? Kachak. The Holy Land of Mary Joie. This is Mary Joie. Over. Ah, they're intercepting it with black snails. Admiral, you have a black transponder snail on your left arm. Yeah? That means you can listen in. Clueless as ever. The Room of Authority. Hey, this is York speaking. Oh, it's you. You guys are so rude. Why the heck are you trying to kill me too? I went out of my way to tell you all about the Stella's betrayal. You did do that. But then again, you are Vegapunk just as much as he is. That's debatable. It's true, but debatable. If I had any interest in the Void Century, why would I blab about it? It makes no sense. That's true. Okay, so Saturn, who is not in the Room of Authority, is still listening in because he also has a black snail. In any case, you've done well to survive this long. Didn't CP0 pay you a visit? And what happened to the Straw Hat Pirates? Since I'm the one calling you, I'll let you take a wild guess. You do realize I have the Seraphim under my control, right? The fact that I survived the night shouldn't come as a shock. Anyway, what's with this fleet you've got buzzing around the island? Are you trying to wage war on little old me? As a matter of fact, York, we've had a change of heart on that matter. Am I right in thinking that you are capable of replicating the Mother Flame alone? Okay, I'm going to take a question in that translation. Is he saying that you alone are capable of replicating the Mother Flame? Or is he saying that you are capable of replicating the Mother Flame alone? The position of alone in that sentence is throwing me off. Is he saying that she's the only one of the Vegapunks who can do that? Because there's a chance that Stella isn't the one who created the Leloucha destroyer weapon. It's possible that York did it for them because she is the traitor, and that Stella wouldn't do that and therefore didn't do that, and that would explain all the people being like, why would Vegapunk do that? Well, maybe it wasn't the Stella. Maybe it was York and York alone. But that's just me speculating at the moment. Oh, will you look at that? So you do want something from me. I'm glad I sent it. Indeed, this is a special request we're acting on. A request? From whom? Either way, if that's what you want, the power station I need to make it is here. Kanji can also be read as fusion reactor. Not surprising. So it's basically the mother flame, which is what I should be referring to it. It's been like a month, at least. The mother flame is probably a nuclear weapon. I mean, we already knew it was a nuke in the casual sense, but formally, it might literally be a nuclear weapon. But whatever it is, I wonder what Pluton is going to be to compare to this, because it's starting to put Pluton to shame because we haven't seen Pluton be used. We've only heard of its existence through hearsay, and its power level. I mean, just promise you won't lay a finger on me or my lovely laboratory. Very well. Also, I still want to be a celestial dragon. That can be arranged. Says him. I don't trust them, and I wouldn't trust them. Then you've got a deal. There's just one other thing I needed to do first. Save me! Straw Hat Luffy's here and he's going to kill me! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What? What the hell? Please crush these psychos! I see, everything's finally coming into focus. They had her at gunpoint. Sword point. Oh my goodness. I don't really get it, but we can just use her as a human shield to get away, right? Does that mean we're under siege? So that's how it is. The grand conspiracy has been foiled and the crew's all together. Break next week. Everyone's either eating or chilling. Usopp handling the snail. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Oh. So that means this whole conversation, let's go back to the beginning, was literally staged by Nami, Usopp, Vegapunk. Okay. What are the snails? Okay. They call them. Okay. So they force York to call Marishwa. So basically she's talking to the 5 elders. Technically 4, but the 5th one is listening in. As are... I'm assuming the Navy is helping by listening in, but I don't know if they're allowed to hear what the conversation is. So probably they're just responsible for hacking the transmission, but I don't even know if Kizaru is hearing this. It's probably just the 5 elders. Okay, so this is York speaking. Why are you trying to kill me? I went out of my way to tell you about Vegapunk. Okay, so they ask, what happened to the Straw Hat Pirates? And instead of answering, she says, well, I'm the one calling you. Take a guess. You do realize I have the Seraphim. So in that panel, she's implying that she beat them. Okay. The fact that I survived the night should come as a shock. Okay, so she's selling the trick. Okay, she's complaining about the fleet. Are you trying to wage war? Okay. Okay, so she needs a fusion reactor to make the mother flame. They agree. She wants to be a celestial dragon. They agree. And then she says, save me from Luffy, and then, you know. Okay, Kizaru is listening in. He's reacting. Okay, I'm glad I caught that. Forget my previous question. So, and of course, I didn't notice, but I didn't mention it until now. Rob Lucci, and I'm looking for Kaku, but I don't see him. I see a mountain of food in the background. Everyone's chowing. Okay, so Rob Lucci and the pigeon Hattori are here. So he is still in on it. as is Jewelry Bunny, which last time we saw Jewelry Bunny, she was in the bubble. I guess we'll get that at a later point because they teased it, so she's back. And of course, Vegapunk is here, so this all takes place after some sort of time skip, because overnight, we have now confirmed Sanji must have beaten the Seraphim. That's no surprise. Usopp is no longer stone. Frankie's no longer stone. I don't see a single other satellite in the room. I just see Stella and York. She's in chains. Okay, great details. Great details. I'm glad I'm paying attention. Everyone's chill about this. I don't see Kaku or Stussy. But I guess it's a big room. I guess the panel is only facing one way. They could be behind the camera, quote unquote. Please crush these psychos. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay, so Oda pulled a little time skip. In the next chapter or whenever, we might or may not get more information about what happened prior. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. And I think this is long enough. I think I'm going to end it here. This was a great chapter, by the way. I think I talked about lots of stuff. And I also want to make sure to remind you people that the next anime episode, which comes out Saturday, Sunday, this weekend, is, of course, episode 1071, I believe, if I remember correctly. The number, you know what it is. You know what it is. You know what's happening. So on that day, after I see the episode, or maybe before, I'm going to be releasing this project, a meme video that I've been working on for a long time. Hours of editing, months of brainstorming. It's nothing big. It's short, but it's a meme. It's funny. Hopefully, it'll get a lot of views because I put a lot of effort into it, and I think it's just, you know, just something funny, something funny for people to enjoy, and hopefully stay tuned because that video is done. I just finished it like yesterday, and this is a good time to release it because I was originally planning to release it before, this episode, so it lines up perfectly. I'm so glad that I finished it because I really want to do other stuff too. And since it says break next week for the manga chapter, I guess then, if I'm not too tired, maybe next week. Who knows? Who knows? I have a lot of unfinished videos, So again, thanks for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, sharing with a friend, and subscribing. I'll see you next time.